Hey lovelies, this is Janelle, the relationship coach behind the successful invisible. And I'm here today with another lesson in the Unlearning Series. Men judge it, desire it, then shame you for it. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about one of the most controlling narratives women are still carrying into their dating lives. The fear of being labeled, specifically the fear of being labeled a hoe, right? Or a promiscuous woman. Because if we're being honest, a lot of women aren't making dating decisions based on what they actually want. They're making decisions based on how they think they'll be perceived by men. And that right there, that's conditioning, not preference, right? Women are conditioned to be with men who they don't find attractive, that aren't on their level of ambition, that they don't like their personality, through socialization and overall socialization and encouragement from our communities that we're in, our friend groups, but also from men. What makes this even more interesting is that many of the same men who shame women for their sexual expression openly admit that if they were in your position, meaning if they woke up a woman tomorrow, they would do the exact same things and 10 times worse. The thing is, men are hypocrites. They subscribe to double standards as long as they don't have the short end of the stick in their mind. So now we have to ask a real question. Why are you restricting yourself based on standards that aren't even consistently applied, right? In today's Unlearning Series lesson, we're unpacking how shame, projection, and double standards are shaping women's dating choices and what you need to unlearn so you can start dating from confidence and not fear.
And I'm gonna be so honest, I never understood why y'all gave a fuck about being called a hoe, because if you sit down and ask a man if he was a woman for a day, what would he do? And the first thing that always come out their mouth is about popping their pussy. They would literally admit to you in your face that being a hoe would be the funnest thing that they can ever do if they was a woman, but yet they literally shame and demonize you for doing something that they wish they can do on a day-to-day basis. Men get online every single fucking day. I wouldn't even say online, but if you legitimately just been around a man that resent or is jealous of women, they would tell you out their mouths that they dislike a lot of things women do because they can get away with a lot of stuff that men cannot do. And it bothers me when they say that, because we tell men all the time that you quite literally can do the shit that women do. Like, you literally live under a society that put y'all above women. You can go out there and sell your ass for money if you wanted to. You can have a man pay your bills if you want to. You can do that type of stuff. You can go to a bar and ask a man to buy you drinks. You can go to the club and stand on the motherfucking the stadium, whatever it is, right along with the celebrity if you want to, and pop your ass. Like, nobody's telling y'all can't do this shit. Nobody's telling y'all can't do that. But the thing is, I feel like y'all know why you won't do it, because you know men don't want shit for free. So if you do ask that man for a drink, you know he gonna want to fuck. You do know if you wanted to sell your ass or you wanted to get money out of a man, you know that in return he's gonna want something in return. That's why I feel like a lot of men be upset about that, but at the same time it's like, if you want to do it, just fucking do it. Like, nobody is stopping you from popping your pussy. Nobody is stopping you from wearing a 30-inch buns down. Nobody is stopping you from being a fucking talking ass, messy ass bitch. Nobody is stopping you from doing it. But I think y'all are aware that if you do want to trade places with women, that means that you would then have to take on the harassment that women take on a day-to-day basis from men. And y'all know y'all don't want to do that. So that's why, in all, just be a hoe. If you as a woman want to be a hoe, just be a hoe. Just be a hoe. Nobody care. Ain't nobody gonna keep up with that shit. I promise you they not. Honestly, you can just change cities if you want to. Change cities, change your name. Who gonna give a fuck?
All right, let's get into it. So, unlearning point number 1. You have to unlearn the fear of being judged for your sexual expression, right? So, a core insight here is that many women are taught to fear being labeled a hoe, right? While men simultaneously desire and fantasize about the very behaviors they shame. Men want to attain power so they can get women to do the exact same things they want to shame you for supposedly doing. right? The double standard is real, right? Men often admire, pursue, and fantasize about sexually liberated women, but they publicly shame them. This is why you have so many conservative men who subscribe to OnlyFans and or are not living their truth, and they crash the Grindr app every time that they have a convention together. No cap, look that up. Shame is used as a control mechanism, not a moral truth. A woman's behavior is often judged more harshly than a man's, regardless of intent or context, because we live under a white patriarchal system in overarching society. You really need to focus on unlearning and not giving a fuck about the belief that male approval defines your worth. Male-centered women uphold patriarchy. Male-centered women allow men who are out here undesirable on every level to believe they deserve the 10 insta-baddie, right? Male-centered women, meaning women who have not unpacked these realities, are the reason that far too many of us are walking around with the idea that a woman's desirability decreases because of how she chooses to express herself. You really need to have the dating reframe that, or to move from, will this make me look bad, to, is this aligned with my standards, safety, and self-respect? You see how I phrase that? Because it's not about going out here and just being, and I don't want to say just, that's very simplifying, but being promiscuous and having sex with everybody. That's not the intention or the goal of unlearning this. You need to still be very prudent and very clear about your standards in a partner before you have sexual relationships with them, right? Because sex is actually a ritual, right? And from a spiritual perspective, you do not want to be engaged in that ritual with everyone. Just because you have or are shifting your mindset to not be worried about what men think does not mean you should be reckless. Not at all. That's not safe in any sense of the word. You still need to engage with a high degree of discernment. You need to make sure you are at a place to engage in that ritual with another person, and you need to make sure they're the right person. There are a lot of factors that need to line up. So even when you shift your mindset, that doesn't mean the frequency in partners or occurrences is going to automatically increase. In fact, it shouldn't, because you still need to hold yourself to certain standards and make sure you're doing what is right and safe for you. Unlearning, point number 2. You really need to unlearn the illusion that men operate from moral superiority. A core insight here is that many men critique behaviors that they themselves would engage in excess if given the same social positioning and incentives. You have to realize men say a lot of this judgmental, shitty stuff to women out of jealousy. They want to just be able to get up and look pretty and get free stuff from men. Okay? And since they can't, because they were born male, they use their position in the patriarchy to then punish women for existing inside of the very same system, patriarchy, that they created, that sees women as a reward, right? So that a lot of men are mad because they're not at the top and they're not reaping all the benefits. That's point blank, period. What's really happening here is, men are just resentful that women, what they perceive as women's access to attention, resources, and desirability is leveraged because men only think in that manner. And all of those things are true, but the system has been set up that way. And if a woman is smart, she's learned the rules of engagement and she is moving accordingly in the system. The criticism is just often rooted in projection, envy, or lack of success, not integrity, and self-centeredness, right? And double standards. Let's be honest. The same behavior is praised in men but policed in women. What you have to unlearn here is that the assumption that male criticism is rooted in higher moral standards. It's just rooted in them being judgmental and jealous. You also have to unlearn that the belief that you have to adjust your behavior to meet inconsistent expectations is normal. It's not normal. Call that shit out, right? It's very funny because the same men who are talking about women laying around is the same man who may have multiple babies' mothers and none of them have been their wife. It's stupid. Call him out, talk to him bad, tell him to lower the bass in his voice when he talks to you. Instead of internalizing judgment, ask, does this man live by the same standards he expects me to live by? And if he doesn't, call that shit out, embarrass him. He will shut his mouth, because he will understand that every time he states an opinion that's not in line with his the way he's walking in life, it's noise. It's noise just for the sake of noise. It's not guidance. And real talk, most men can't lead themselves. They don't need to be trying to lead anybody else. So keep that in mind. Unlearning lesson or point number 3. Unlearn the need to perform respectability, air quotes, for acceptance. And this goes doubly for Black women. Woo, because everybody has 1,000,001 expectations of us, but they can act like shit, right? So core insight here is women are often conditioned to perform a version of themselves that feels acceptable to avoid judgment, rejection, or labeling. For Black women, this is especially true because we're expected to perform as a woman, and we're expected to perform to satisfy whiteness when we are in those majority white spaces. Ignore that shit. You need to have a sense of self-discipline so you can move accordingly through your life. What's really happening here is respectability is a moving target. It's a tool of manipulation. You can follow everyone and still be judged. Look at how organized religions, especially Abrahamic religions, treat women. Many women shrink, suppress, or overcorrect themselves to avoid male disapproval when those same men are doing the most horrendous things to girls and women. Meanwhile, they're rarely required to perform at the same level of restraint, and usually the most superfluous, flimsy apology should be accepted, right? Or is seen as should be accepted to excuse a man's terrible behavior. We see that going on now in the socio-political environment. What you need to unlearn here is the need to constantly edit yourself or be chosen is pick me energy, right? Really sit with yourself when you feel that rising up, journal about it. You have to get to the root of the why so you can address it. You need to also unlearn that the belief that playing small guarantees better treatment. It does not. A lot of times it'll just have predators, because this is a predatory mindset, see you as the perfect target to be victimized. A dating reframe I really want you to lean into is the shift from performance to discernment. Ask, does this man respect me as I am, or only when I minimize myself or allow him to mold me into who he wants me to be? If the answer is the latter, please cut off any contact with that man. And if it's contact you can't avoid, like a family member, minimize it and gray rock it.